Devstream 173 had released some contents that we could expect for the newest update. But the question is that what can we expect from the new updates? Well, I'm not the person that really care about the cosmetic that much, as those things are not my top priority. So for this video, I'm not talking about those cosmetic stuff. And no, I'm also not trying to go through about those beginner friendly guide or something. I just try to take a look at what can we expected for the mid game or late game players, so that what is the new things we can expect it. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Of course, the first thing that we all know about it right now is obviously the new Warframe, which is the Gaff and its own signature weapon, Doorclave. To be honest, this new frame alongside with its own signature weapon, I'm not very surprised. But let's focus on another question. How can you get the Gaff? Well, luckily enough, the Gaff just much like a little bit like Rally, I guess, because you can access the blueprint as well as the part alongside with the weapons blueprint from the newest dojo room. So if let's say you have a dojo, make sure to get this newest dojo room so that you can get the Gaff as soon as possible. As for the Prime release, the next Prime will be having the Grendel Prime alongside with his signature weapon Meseta Prime and the Xyloc Prime. Well, we already know that the Prime release order, so it's not surprised that Grendel comes right now. So for the Xyloc Prime release, I feel like it's very interesting because we know that Xyloc is not very strong in terms of overall situation, so I hope that the Prime version can at least help a little bit. If not, then let's just hope that the Xyloc Incarnon Genesis still managed to work well in the Prime version. And of course, another frame also get a buff here, which is Hydroid. We all know that Hydroid abilities just try to focus on C and not really interesting or good to do the damage we wanted to. So we don't really use Hydroid that much. But luckily enough, the newest update will revert Hydroid abilities from to focus on C feature into that they can do the job very well enough. At least, because I don't really listen that much properly. So the only thing I can let you know is that Hydroid abilities will now change it. Almost all abilities will be focused on dealing the corrosive damage, and it can gain armor by using the corrosive damage on the enemies. So this is what I could know the best. But for the further information, we may need to wait until the update have released. We have done Warframe, but is there anything we can expect again? Well, turns out that companions also gain an extra buff here. You see, we don't really want to use other companions except for Panzer mainly because most of the companions will die too easily, especially in the late game. Especially for those companions like the animal version, which is the Kavat or the Kubro. If they die, then you have to spend time to revive them, which not only is time consuming but also risk yourself into danger. Which is why the newest update will no longer allow the companions to die anymore. This is quite useful because it also shows that we don't need to worry that they will be killed or destroyed in the process. But this also means that certain mods such as the Prime Regen will no longer be used anymore. But if that's the case, what we can expect it at? Well, they did mention that they will change these mods into other mods that can try to cooperate with your Warframe. But now, here comes the important one, the shield gating mechanism. They think that shield gating is very useful now, so they decided to give us a mod that can work very well, that it has both the decaying dragon key and the shield gating effect, where it will decrease the maximum shield and it will give you 1.33 seconds immunity when the full shield have break. This is much like our shield gating mechanism work. But for me, I don't really feel like it has any problem, because if, let's say that they need to create this mod by removing the initial perks of the shield initially had, then why do we need shield anymore? So if let's say that they retain the shield mechanism at there, but just add in another mod, this also means that this is just a totally buff because you don't really sacrifice that much thing. Instead, you also have another way to achieve shield gating. If you want to know more about how I think about shield gating, check on this video. I already done it for a long time ago at least, which I tell you about how I think about shield gating. And speaking of the new mods, they decided to change the mods that usually work additively towards weapons or warframes. Because if you remember how additive damage works, then you know that every time you try to slot in those mods, those numbers will just work differently like you were expected. While we do know that it works additively, but the question is that, do you know how to calculate the precise number? But turns out that most people don't even know how to do it because it's just a long process here. Even I still don't even know how they get this number. Even I know how to use the correct formula. So they decided to change that the mod that usually had those high numbers, change it to smaller numbers, maybe just like we all know, just only have the 100% there. But this will let them not work as an additive mod anymore. Instead, they will act just like a final multiplier. I'm not sure, but they did mention that they changed this mod, so I will expect that everything will change it much better. And this is how I think about the new Devstream 173. To be honest, I'm not the person that really too hyped in those new things. At least I did want new things coming out right away, but not as hard as I wanted to, so I'm okay with it. And of course, I know that a lot of people want to talk about those crossplay and soul frame, but just think that they don't do anything or just too slow or something. Give them time, can we? Because remember, Roman is not created in just one day. All of this will need time to create it. So let them do their work, okay? The way that we helping them is respect their work, because if we respect them, then of course they will give us what we needed to. If this is your first time watching, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss out any newest contents from me. Why not leave your comments down below if you got any ideas or thoughts you want to share with all of us. And that's it from me, and as always, I will see you all next time. Bye bye!